We are live.
Hello?
Hi, everyone. Should we introduce ourselves?
I think it's a good plan, especially if people are still kind of filtering in.
Yeah, sorry, guys. We were a little late. My computer wanted me to download Google Chrome, but we are here.
We made it. We found our way.
But my name is Madina. I'm one of the therapists and directors at NOCD, and I'm also a yoga teacher. I don't teach a ton now anymore because I'm so busy at NOCD, but I'll be teaching Carly today. Or the other side. I did that last time.
It's so disconcerting. Hi, I'm Carly Samach. I'm a therapist with NOCD, and I do some social media engagement and some clinical advising. And I am also a yoga teacher, but I'm a restorative yoga teacher. So I get the lucky opportunity to be led by Madina today. There we go.
So we're so excited to see you guys. Well, not literally see you guys, but to have you guys here. We'll do like a 30-minute flow. So as Carly said, I'll guide her. So I'll be talking and she'll be demoing. So if you're not exactly sure what I'm describing, look at Carly. And Carly, if you don't know what I'm describing, let me know. And then I think we're going to put on a little like maybe relaxing music. So Carly, whatever is your jive. We hope that's okay with everyone, that there's a little music on in the background.
I feel like a little bit of lo-fi doesn't hurt anyone. That's it's a nice middle ground because it's a little focusy, but it's not too much. So we'll go with some lo-fi beats.
Yeah.
How's that?
That's good. Maybe like one volume up. Yeah. If it sounds weird for anyone on the other end, you can put something in the chat below. But other than that, let's get started. If you don't already have a mat rolled out, I would suggest having a mat rolled out. You can also just use like a carpet space or like a space that's a little bit softer. And yeah, let's get started. So let's start actually laying down on our backs. All right. So once you are there, I want your legs and arms to come out nice and long and wide. So really take up space. And I want you to press into your upper arm bones and wiggle your shoulder blades down your mat to kind of get that lift in your heart. And this might be a little weird, but you're probably alone. I want you to take a nice deep inhale through your nose and sigh it out of your mouth. And really allow your body to relax onto your mat. If it feels okay, you can go ahead and close your eyes. We're going to take one more nice cleansing breath. Take a nice deep inhale. And sigh it out. Nice and heavy on the mat. So just allow your breath to be as it is, no controlling or manipulating it at this moment, and just observe and notice kind of how we observe and notice when it comes to responding to our unwanted thoughts, right? We're just noticing without attaching to them. And a lot of times our breath can be indicative of the type of day we've had, right? If we've been really go, 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 maybe our breath is really shallow and short. Or maybe today's been really relaxing. So your breath is nice and long. So either way, I don't want you to necessarily change it or label it as good or bad. I just want you to notice it. And then we'll start to control the breath a little bit. So nice deep inhale here through the nose. And a nice strong exhale through the nose. So it's kind of like when we were breathing out of our mouth, but this time the mouth is closed. So you have a little bit of a constriction in the back of your throat. It kind of sounds like wind going through a tunnel. Nice long inhales and exhales. So we're going to use the breath and the body as our anchor. So these are really two great points of focus when we want to stay present. So anytime your mind wanders during this practice, which it will, I want you to bring it back to your breath or your body. And then your next inhale, I want you to reach your arms overhead. I don't know, Carly, if you can. So reach your arms overhead. Take a nice full body stretch. So kind of like when you wake up in the morning. Yes. And then let's pull right knee into our chest. Interlace your fingers below your kneecap. Good. Yes. And go ahead and wiggle around your ankle. Maybe put your foot in circles here. Any movements that feel good. And then we'll go ahead and twist over. So that right knee over to the left side. Bring your gaze to the right. A nice strong inhale back through center and release your right leg down. Pull your left knee into your chest. Same thing. Take any movements here that feel good. And then your next exhale, take your twist. This time looking over to the left side. Again, maybe just noticing that one side feels a little different, right? Not bad or good, just different. And inhale back through center. Now hug both knees into the chest. See if you can grab opposite wrist, maybe elbows. And see if you can roll your tailbone down to the floor. Right, so tailbone likes to come up in this pose. Yeah. And then we'll take some rock and rolls up and down our mat. Nice. And then coming to a seated position. You can either cross your legs or sit on your shins. And take a nice deep inhale, lift your arms up. And as you exhale that left hand down, take a nice side body stretch. Let's see if you can open that right shoulder a little bit more to the ceiling. Nice. Good. Inhale back through center, go to the other side. Right hand down, left arm over. Such great demoing by Carly. Inhale back through center. And then cactus your arms out, so bend your elbows, lift your chest. Yes. And then hands in front of us will roll over onto all fours.
The top shirt is coming off, folks. So she's getting ready to make us do work. So
I'm making you sweat. So let's do some cat-cow. So you can tuck your toes, drop your belly, lift your gaze. And draw your shoulders down your back, yes. And then as you exhale, round and tuck. Really press away with the mat. And I want you guys to move with your own breath here. So as you inhale, you drop the belly. And as you exhale, you round your back. So you might go fast or slow. No right or wrong. Again, just what you need. You can even take some other movements, be like body rolls or neck rolls. And really just being intuitive. I really like to close my eyes in this pose. You can try that. And while you roll through some cat-cows, I want you to check in with where your mind is at and see if you can make sure that it's staying with the breath and the body. And then we can come back to a neutral spine, and we'll tuck our toes and hover our knees off of the mat. Yeah, so a little core work. Gonna make you guys sweat just a little bit. So here I really want you to imagine pressing the earth away with the balls of your feet and your hands and really engaging your core. Good. Take a nice deep inhale here. And as you exhale, lift your hips into down dog. Good. So pedal it out. Take any movements here. I like to kind of roll into a plank and just check my alignment. So a proper down dog, you should be able to go from plank to down dog without moving your hands or your feet. Beautiful. And we'll find some stillness here. A nice inhale, come high on your toes and bend your knees a ton so your torso glues to your thighs. Yeah, and really lift your hips. Nice. And then exhale, straighten your legs. Let's do that again. High in the toes, bend your knees, torso to thighs. Really imagine your hips going to the upper corner of the room. And exhale, straighten your legs. Take a nice deep inhale through the nose and sigh it out. And then slowly tiptoe all the way to your hands. Nice forward fold. So here, go ahead and bend your knees a ton. So again, your torso is right on your thighs. So depending on how open you are, you might have to bend your knees a ton. And then go ahead and let the head hang. And I want you to grab opposite elbows. Yeah. This is one of my favorite poses.
Same.
So something cool about forward folds, if you guys don't know, is a lot of times we should really be bending our knees in our forward folds so we're not rounding in the back. Forward fold should really come from the low back. So really just bending those knees and letting the torso hang. I'm going to release opposite elbows and keeping the chin tucked in. I want you to slowly roll all the way up, nice and slow. Good. And let's just stand here for a moment. You can bring your left hand to your heart and your right hand to your belly. And maybe you close your eyes. Just check in with yourself again. Where is your mind? And if it has wandered, I want you to bring it back to your breath, bring it back to your body. And honestly, just thank yourself for coming, right? Sometimes showing up is the hardest part. I know it sounds really cliche, but it's true. Go ahead and drop your arms to your side, open your eyes. Nice deep inhale, arms up. And exhale, forward fold. Yeah, really leading with your chest. Inhale, bring your hands to your shins. Nice flat back. Awesome. Exhale, fold. Let's do that again. Inhale, hands to shins, flat back. Exhale, fold. Plant our hands and step back to plank. And you can drop your knees here or you can leave them lifted. We're going to slowly lower all the way to our belly. Keeping those elbows squeezed in, nice. And then inhale into a baby cobra. So back bend, perfect. And exhale, come down. Go ahead and tuck your toes. You can push up to tabletop or plank. And then exhale to your down dog. So that's what we call a flow, right? You might hear like Vinyasa flow. And the real cool thing about this is you can go through several sequences by yourself at your own breath, kind of like we did cat-cow. So I'm going to let you guys flow through a few rounds. We're going to do one more together, and then I'll let you guys move with your own breath. So inhale, slowly walk to the top of the mat. You can hop or jump if you want to. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins, flat back. Exhale, fold. And inhale, come all the way up, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands plant, step back to plank. You keep the knees up or drop them. Slowly lower to your belly. Inhale to your back bend. Exhale, come down. Plank or tabletop. Exhale, down dog. So like I said, we're going to move with our own breath. Maybe your movement is to just stay in down dog. Again, no right or wrong way of doing this. So whenever you're ready. And I'm sure some of you on this call probably maybe don't know much about yoga or have never been. So this is a great opportunity to just really lean into maybe not doing it quote unquote right. I think that's one of the beautiful things about yoga is that everyone will practice it a little differently. So really just moving, staying still, but just making sure you're breathing is the important part. Nice. Moving a few more breaths here. I see someone put a question in the chat if the weight should be in your arms when you're in down dog. I really see the weight is in my 10 knuckle pads, so we'll be pressing away with my hands. It's actually considered the rest pose, believe it or not. I remember my first yoga class, I heard the teacher say that, and I was like, what? That is the rest pose? This is so hard. So you get used to it, right? Like we learn to habituate with OCD, thoughts, intrusive thoughts. So it's like a microcosm of ERP. All right, let's come down to our knees. And we'll sit back into child's pose. Take a little rest here. So a few options. You can bring your knees wide. That'll help open your hips a little more if they're tight. If you're looking for more of a low back stretch, you can bring your knees together. And as far as your arms, you can have them energized and engaged if you want by reaching forward. And lifting your elbows, or you can just kind of let them relax, have a nice bend in the elbow. Carly is demoing a nice little shoulder stretch, right? If you bring your palms together and the thumbs to the nape of your neck, you'll feel it in your shoulders. Child's pose is really cool because when you're nice and close to the earth like this, you can really like physically hear your breath. And so maybe that's just something that you're focusing on right now, the sound of your breath. All right, let's come back to all fours and then push back into down dog. And let's go ahead and step our right foot forward for a high lunge. Keep that back knee up and arms are up. So if arms up is too challenging, you can always bring your hands to your hips. I sometimes like to do that just to make sure my hips are in alignment. Looks great. I'm trying to bend nice and deep into that right knee, and you feel a nice stretch in that left hip flexor. Good. And everyone see if there's some area in your body, if you scan it, where can you relax and release a little more? For me, it's usually my shoulders. Take one more nice deep inhale here. And as you exhale, bring your hands to frame your right foot and slowly lower that back knee and sink into the hips here for a nice little stretch. So you can keep your hands down or you can bring them back up, totally up to you. And so what you want to work on here is drawing your right hip back, your left hip forward. And so although you could dump into the pose, you definitely want to make sure that the hips are pulling in opposite directions like that. So you're really protecting what you're stretching. And then find a little bit of a back bend here. So lifting your heart up to the ceiling. Yes. One more nice deep inhale. And exhale, bring your hands to heart center and then twist over to the right. So hook your left elbow outside your right leg. And then I want you to really press your right hand into your left hand to rotate and twist a little more. Look over your right shoulder. And inhale back to center, arms up. And then exhale, hands down to frame that right foot. You can step back to plank or tabletop and go through a flow or meet in down dog. Take a nice deep inhale here. And side out. And we'll bring that left leg forward for that high lunge. If you guys can't tell already, I really love the sighing out breath.
It feels so yummy.
It's so therapeutic. I know it can be awkward at first, but once you get used to it, right, it feels really nice. And again, as we stay in our high lunge, we want to scan our body for that area where we can just relax and release a little bit. Maybe your toes are gripping the mat. Maybe your face is scrunched up. See if you can relax that. Good. Take one more nice deep inhale. And exhale, hands down to frame that left foot. Drop your back for your right knee. Yep. And then you can stay here or arms come up. Again, really working on this time, drawing that left hip back and right hip forward. So your right glute muscle should really be engaged here. You're protecting that hip flexor. Take a nice deep inhale here, reach up a little higher, and then exhale, find a back bend. And when I think of my back bends, I think of it as if like a string were on my heart and it was being pulled up to the ceiling. Good. Inhale back through center. Exhale, hands to heart center, and we'll do that twist. I get Carly trying to skimp on the twists.
Right?
This is the best part. So twists are really good for detoxing, so I've heard. Press the left hand into the right, twist a little deeper. Good. Inhale back through center. And then exhale, hands down to frame that left leg. And go through a flow, or we'll meet in down dog. Awesome. You come up high in the toes, bend the knees a ton, like we did in the beginning of class. Bring your torso to your thighs. Yes. Exhale, melt your heels down. Alrighty, let's drop our knees. We'll sit back onto our heels. Let's actually keep our toes tucked under. We'll stretch the bottoms of our feet. Yeah. And this might be really intense for some of you. So if you need to take like what I call intervals, go for it. And let's just take some time here to notice the sensation, right? We talk so much about with OCD and ERP that we're learning to accept and respond differently to uncomfortable things. That's really what yoga is, right? We're learning to respond differently to things that are uncomfortable. And then we'll come back into our tabletop. I like to, like hit my shins a little bit on the floor, just shake out my legs a little bit. Yep. I don't know how, but Carly was able to figure out what I was describing.
Two lines.
And let's do some wrist stretches. So yeah, let's bring our fingertips to point towards our knees. And you can do one at a time or two at a time. It's up to you. And you can kind of rock forward and back and just gauge where you're at today. Some of you might be able to go a little further. Some might not be able to. And again, totally fine. Just work with what you have today. Wrist stretches are so good. A lot of us were like at computers all day. So these are really awesome. And then slowly come back through center. And then let's bring the fingertips out to the opposite sides of the room. Yep. And then you can just rock back or side to side. And then let's fingertips back through center and then tuck your toes. I want you to sit back on your heels again. And then actually want you to bring one of your palms forward. And like I'm like trying to demo it over here, but I forget that it's mirrored. And then I just want you to pull your fingertips back. Yes. And so once you're here, you will notice your shoulder wants to come up. So lower that right shoulder. Yeah. And then go ahead and switch to the other side. This time working on making sure that left shoulder comes down. And I know I can't see everyone, but I know everyone is doing awesome. Alrighty. And come back through tabletop. So do a little, what we call pigeon pose. So we're gonna drag that right knee to your right wrist and bring your right ankle to your left wrist. And then straighten that leg behind you. So this is a pretty intense pose if you need some sort of like prop, like a pillow or something of that nature under your right hip or in front of you, like Carly said, just demoed. You can stay upright like kind of how Carly is, a little bit easier. If you feel like you want a little more, you can come down to your forearms. You could also stack your fists and rest your forehead there. And if you're uber flexible, you can come all the way down to your forehead. So again, a pretty intense stretch. The IT band is really what we're targeting here. And I think it's always funny. They say your IT band is tight if you walk too much, sit too much, or stand too long. That's literally everyone. One of us, we all fall into one of those categories. Take a few more breaths here. We'll slowly come up and in your own time transitioning to the other side, however you want. So you can come back to tabletop, or if you're dying for down dog, you can do that too. And again, just noticing how each side is different. And so I'll share with you guys one of my favorite phrases to swap out when we find ourselves being judgmental, right? Like, oh my God, this side is so much worse. Like, judging ourselves for it. Instead, we could say something like, isn't it interesting that this side is tighter? And you can apply that in other areas too of your life. And when you catch yourself judging yourself, we can swap it out for, isn't it interesting? Alrighty, let's slowly come back up into tabletop, and we'll make our way down to our backs. No fancy transition here.
Nope.
Good. And we're going to come into our final rest pose. So you can do what we did in the beginning in class with your legs and arms out nice and wide. You can bring your feet together and let your knees fall out. Or you could do my personal favorite, which I'll put my feet on the outsides of my mat and I'll let my knees knock together. That's really good if you have low back pain. And then if you want a little bit more energy today, you feel like maybe you're lacking some energy, I invite you to bring your palms face up. If you feel like today you need a little bit more grounding, maybe you feel a little bit more flighty, I invite you to bring your palms face down. And again, press into those upper arm bones and wiggle your shoulder blades down your mat. Find that lift in your heart. And let's take one more cleansing breath. Nice deep inhale through your nose. And sigh it out. You relax and release onto the mat. And allow your body to feel heavy. And I know that although I've said relax a lot during class, I always hope you guys know that that is not always the intention. Sometimes when we come to practice, life is not relaxing, right? Things feel really chaotic, or maybe we're feeling all sorts of emotions. And I invite you here to let those emotions be, or sensations or thoughts. We can let them be there without needing to attach or to investigate them. And try our best to be fully present in what we're currently doing right now, which is laying down on a floor. Bring one hand to our belly, one hand to our heart. And just take note of how you feel. Typically after we move like this, we tend to feel a bit better, not always. But take a mental note of this feeling and know that you can come back to it at any time. Just got to focus on the breath and the body. And one of the best ways you can do that just briefly in the moment is to place a hand on your heart and a hand on your belly. And when you're ready, you can slowly push yourself up to a seated posture. And we'll bring our hands together at heart center. And so at the end of our practice, we say namaste, which basically means that we honor the light in you, you honor the light in us, and just appreciate one another. And I know Carly and I definitely both appreciate everyone coming and spending some time with us. Namaste.
Namaste.
Carly, you're such a good like demo person.
Well, it's because I had such a good lead.
Oh, thank you. So I think Tia wanted us to introduce ourselves again if anyone came in late. So why don't you start, Carly?
Hi, I'm Carly Samach. I'm a therapist with NOCD. I do some social engagement stuff as well. And on the side of therapy, I'm also a restorative yoga teacher.
Yeah, that's exciting. My name is Madina. I'm a therapist and one of the directors here. And I don't currently teach yoga, but I am certified to teach yoga. So this was really fun for me because I haven't done it in so long. So
we got to do this again, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure people will give feedback if they want something like this again. So thank you again, everyone, for coming. Do we just end it? I don't know.
Yeah, I think we can just go ahead and end. Okay, bye. Thank you.
Bye, guys.